The mass-produced, printed page projects an illusion of permanence. When thousands of identical copies roll off a press, the text assumes a sense of authority that often masks the human errors hidden within the ink. We can see this at work in Menachot 78a, a passage studied in Jewish academies worldwide. The text presents a ruling from Rav Chisda. On the day a newly anointed high priest begins his service, he must bring 2 Menachot, 2 grain offerings for his inauguration. Immediately following this, the text records a counter-argument. Mar bar Rav Ashi challenges the ruling, insisting the requirement is actually 3 offerings. Mapping them on a timeline reveals an impossibility. Rav Chisda is a 3rd-generation Amora. Mar bar Rav Ashi is 7th. They are separated by 4 generations. The text frames this as a direct argument. An anomaly printed editions replicate exactly. This anomaly stems from a single, uncorrected scribal error. A misplaced name has created a historical impossibility that obscures the structural logic of the debate. To find the error, we have to look away from the center columns of the standard page and examine the dense marginalia. Hidden in the margins is a tiny footnote marked with the letter Zayin. It was placed there by the Shitta Mekubetzet, working from earlier printings. The footnote issues a correction, striking the famous name Mar bar Rav Ashi and replacing it with a highly obscure figure, Mar bar Chia. This correction is supported by physical evidence that predates the printing press. Handwritten European manuscripts universally reject the printed version, recording the name as Mar bar Chia. This follows a core principle. Scribal errors flow toward the familiar. When encountering an unknown name, a scribe's fatigued brain unconsciously corrects it to a famous one. It is highly improbable that a scribe accidentally erased the legendary Mar bar Rav to invent a near-unknown figure. The evidence shows the printed text is wrong. We are left with a new mystery. Who is this phantom Amora, Mar bar Kia? Biographical dictionaries contain very little data on Mar bar Kia because his appearances in the Talmud are so rare. To solve this, we track his only other known appearances in the text. He surfaces in Tractate Hulin 45b during a complex anatomical discussion regarding animal ducts. His second appearance is in Tractate Bava Batra 165, which deals with how separate witness testimonies are combined in court. In both instances, Mar bar Kia acts alongside Amimar and Rav Ashi, placing him in the late-stage Amoric period. A linguistic pattern links these appearances. The text uses the specific Aramaic term matni, meaning he transmits a formal tradition. This term indicates his role. He is not generating novel logical arguments or debating legislation with his peers. He is retrieving and reciting alternate traditions regarding what scholars from several generations earlier had originally stated. Unlike the famous debaters of the period, he functions as a dedicated textual archivist. Mar bar Kia functioned as a variant preserver, safeguarding minority textual traditions that the main redactors had passed over. We can now apply this profile back to our original problem in Menachot 78a. The flawed printed reading framed the text as a head-to-head, cross-generational debate. By inserting the correct name, the structural logic changes. Mar bar Kia acts as a variant preserver, standing parallel to the other redactors and offering a different line of transmission. He is addressing Rav Ashi's standard version of Rav Chisda's ruling, rather than arguing with the 3rd-generation scholar directly. While the standard tradition claims Rav Chisda required 2 offerings, Mar bar Chia preserves a historical memory where Rav Chisda required 3. This correction resolves the timeline anomaly. We are no longer looking at a debate across centuries, but a localized dispute over accurate transmission. Correcting the scribal error alters the taxonomy of the passage, transforming a logical argument into a dispute over historical memory. This brings us to the final layer of the text, the anonymous narrator, the Stama de Gemara. The Stama is faced with 2 conflicting reports of what Rav Chisda said. To finalize the canon, they must find a way to integrate both. The Stama employs a harmonization that ensures neither tradition is discarded. They explain that the 2 rulings apply to different historical situations, specifically whether the priest had previously served in a regular capacity. This harmonization acts as a redactional tool, locking both traditions into the final text. The dispute is resolved by assigning each tradition a specific legal context. Relying blindly on the printed page hides the editorial machinery at work. Gearsology, the rigorous pursuit of textual accuracy, provides the means to reverse engineer the Talmud's architecture. When we ignore obscure figures like Mar Barhia, we lose the history of how the Talmud was actually built. A single uncorrected scribal error turns a precise piece of textual redaction into a confusing anachronism. Truly understanding the logic of the Talmud requires mastering its physical history.